My name is Dr. Mohammed Shafi. I was born in Srinagar near Kanyar and educated in local schools. And now I am living in England, in Leighton Buzzard, which is a small town in Bedfordshire. My father was a businessman, mostly dealing in gold jewelry. They used to manufacture as well as sell to customers. And my grandparents were also from the same profession, who were appointed by Maharaja of Kashmir to be their goldsmiths. And unfortunately, my mother died very young, and I was also young, about 8 or 9 years old, and my sister was about 6 years old at that time. But after that, my father did not remarry. I was brought up by my aunt, my mother's brother's wife, who didn't have any children. But later on, she had her own children, and she devoted her time like a good mother to all of us. The place I was born was near Kanyar. Actually, it's a place between Kanyar and Jamia Masjid. So, a lot of people, especially my father and grandfather, very, very religious people, in the sense they used to go to mosque to pray at least 5 times a day, as well as going to various shrines like Maktoum Sahab, Khaniyar, Dastagir Sahab, Khaja Naqshbandi Sahab, and Khaja Bazar. So this inculcated in me a religious feeling, which now I understand was what Kashmiris also know, that Kashmiri Sufism combined with Rishiism, which is quite different of what we call Sufism of rest of India or world. And that influence has remained with me even now. My primary school was next to our house, and which was up to the grade of 5th grade. And after 5th grade, I went to a middle school, which was supposed to be a very good new school known as multi-purpose high school, where they used to teach, in addition to general education, occupational education at the same time. And after I did my matriculation, I stood first in the school. And the winter, those days used to be very tough. And luckily, we used to have school holidays during the winter months of between 2 to 3 months holidays. And occasionally, we used to have a common tutor during the winter season. I still remember my old teachers, who were all experts in various subjects, and most of them were Kashmiri Pandits, who were our good teachers. The winters I remember in Kashmir of my childhood are very memorable, in the sense as children we used to enjoy it, especially the first snowfall used to be celebrated. Then we had to use very heavy clothes, what we call params, which were usually made of woolen clothes. And it's a loose garment which keeps you warm and can easily hide a warming concrete, which is a portable heater wherever you go. The common festivals we used to have, really celebration of Eid, both we used to call the Choti Eid and Badi Eid. We used to be given a lot of presents and cash money on such occasions, especially during the Badi Eid, or what we call Qurban Eid. A lot of sheep slaughtered for the sake of religious ceremonies and distributed, and we used to take part in distributing the meat to all our neighbors in the area. That used to be a good function as well. We used to also celebrate these by inviting each other or some local poor people to eat in our house on occasions of such festivals. The other festivals we used to have the birthdays of our various saints, which are either buried or visited Kashmir, especially Maktoum Sahab, Hazrat Dastagir Sahab, Janab Naqshbandi Sahab, who had a great influence on Kashmiri culture. We used to celebrate their birthdays. There is a famous Astan in Kashmir, which was a place of preaching for Shah Hamdan when he came to Kashmir, which is on the bank of River Jhelum, not very far from where we live. It used to be about 10 to 15 minutes walking distance where the shrine is. And also there is a Khanaka, which is attached to the mosque of Shah Hamdan. After matriculation, because I stood first, and it was my ambition and my parents' ambition that I should take medicine, so I took biology as my main subjects in the college. I went to Gujarat for my medicine. After doing my MBBS, I went back to Kashmir for a short time and came back to Jamnagar for doing my post-graduation in general surgery, as there was a shortage of surgeons in Kashmir. I went back after qualification and joined main hospital in Srinagar, where I worked for a couple of years, and then was posted as a surgeon specialist in a district hospital in Doda, then Baramulla, then ultimately Islamabad or Anantnag. The reason I came to UK was a chance, because I married to a young lady and I happened to meet her through my friends and patients, and we became very fond of each other and decided to marry with the consent of both her and my families. Then, as she was already settled in UK, and then I thought also I might do a bit of special training in child surgery, or pediatric surgery. But when I came here, I couldn't get any jobs were in pediatric surgery. So continued doing surgery work in various hospitals. My wife was a pediatric registrar, but unfortunately we couldn't get jobs in the same place. So ultimately we both decided to change our lines. She, being an acute registrar in acute pediatrics, changed to community pediatrics, and I joined the general practice, what we used to call the family medicine. After settling in the UK, me along with the family used to visit Kashmir very frequently, once or more than once a year. to meet friends, family, and visit the places of interest and visit tourist areas like lakes and health resorts like Gulmarg, Pahalgam. And we used to stay in a sometimes in a houseboat and move around the Dal Lake in the Shikara, which brought me back my childhood memories of going a whole week's vacation in the Dunga, moving around the lakes and visiting gardens, enjoying Kashmiri cuisine, and ultimately returning back to UK with those fond memories, which is always in my memory, alive all the time. My wife wanted to do something for medical services. We were thinking of doing something, but unfortunately her health deteriorated and she was diagnosed with cancer of the liver, which unfortunately spread over in spite of treatment, and she expired in 2005. I have set up this Dr. Mahjabeen Cancer Foundation in UK in 2007, and since then have been not only helping in Kashmir but locally as well, and have donated various equipment like MRI and gamma camera system in postgraduate medical science college in Srinagar, known as Sher-e Kashmir Institute of Medical Sciences, and gave 2 ambulances. I've got only one son whose name is Shahzad Shafi, who we were keen to train him as a doctor. He studied legally in London, UCL, and was very well received by his attitude towards medicine and research. I'm a member of Leighton Wizard philosophical group where we discuss various topics, and among those I have given so far a talk on Jesus in Kashmir and the shrine where it is and how we know about it. And also I'm going to give a talk on Kashmiri Sufism and how it's different than general concept of Sufism.